Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. I am feeling better this week. I'm sounding better this week. So very thankful for that. I listened back to last week's episode and just kind of laughed at how sick I sounded and how sad I sounded, but I'm feeling better this week. So thank you for bearing with me. I'm really excited for this week's topic. First of all, it's the 120th episode, which is freaking crazy. Time is flying by. I've had the podcast for a little over 2 years and 120 episodes in. I've not missed a week. I'm super proud of myself. And every week I think, what am I going to talk about? What is a good topic? What do people want to hear? What do I feel like I can just talk about genuinely? Because that matters a lot to me, that it's a topic that I really can relate to, and at least myself and or coaching my clients. And I just do really well with genuine conversation. And so every single week, I kid you not, I struggle with, what am I going to talk about? Is that good enough? And I don't know. Sometimes we think that people on the other end of a screen or our phones don't struggle. And I want you to know that they do. We do. So I'm excited though, because I was doing a lot of coaching calls yesterday, the day before recording this, and a lot of my clients are struggling right now, and I found it interesting. Well, they're not really struggling with macros and workouts and like the basics. They're more so struggling with the mental part, the mindset part, the realistic part. Like we have all the pieces, kind of down pat for my clients, or they know what they have to do, and it's just kind of like struggling to put it into their life, which that's the struggle, right? It's like, okay, Christy, I know I'm supposed to do, X, Y, and Z and get my steps in and hit my water and do my workouts and track my macros. Like I know the basics, but how do I find time to do that? How do I go to the gym? Do I do it from home? Like, what does this actually look like for me? And then once you start to do that, you have kind of these other issues, these life issues that pop up. And without someone in your corner, literally yesterday, my clients would be a little bit lost. Like they would feel stuck and they wouldn't have anyone to really talk to about these things. So I want to just talk about, I guess where we're going to go with this is two things. Old habits die hard. So if you are starting a new program, a new journey, a new set of habits, let's say, you're kind of trying to get rid of old habits and you're trying to implement new habits. Old habits die hard. And the second part of that is it's not easy to do this. What you have to do is simple. Walking is simple. Getting a couple workouts in a week, simple. Drinking water, simple. Tracking your macros, learning to hit protein, right? It's simple what you have to do, but it's not easy. And I don't want it to be twisted that it is. I don't want people to say like, oh, this is all you have to do, period. And make it sound like, yeah, that is technically like all you have to do and all you have to focus on in this journey. And that's great because there's a lot of other things that people do focus on or say you need to focus on to make it harder, like intermittent fasting and keto and Weight Watchers and low carb and carb cycling and food timing and like all this shit that makes it even more difficult. So thank God we can take out those pieces and just focus on, the four things that matter the most. But there is other things that will pop up. Old habits die hard. It is not easy to implement these things into your life in a way that works for you. I shouldn't say it's not easy. It just takes a little time to figure that out. And a lot of people don't want to take the time to do that. They think they need to do it like me, or they think they need to do it like their best friend, or they think they need to do it like some other influencer, or in a way that they saw on a reel, like this is the perfect daily routine, or this is the perfect morning routine. Maybe it is for a 20-year-old influencer with no actual job, kids, husband, wife, nothing else going on. I'm not saying that 20-year-old influencer is not busy, but they're not me. That 20-year-old influencer is not me, right? I am married. I do have kids. I am an entrepreneur. I have a lot of shit going on. So you have to look at your life. Even if your best friend has a spouse and kids and is an entrepreneur or has a job or, XYZ, and their life is similar to yours, it's not the same. So figuring out how this works for you is very, very hard. So for example, I had a couple of situations on calls yesterday that my clients were dealing with, and it all came down to the same thing in my mind. So one of my clients was dealing with mom guilt and making time for herself. She's like, I have good intentions for the week to get my workout in, track my, all the things. And then my kids need something, or my spouse needs help with something, or work falls apart. But mostly it was kids. Like, my kids always need something. I always am being the number one person for everyone else. And I have got to be the number one person for myself. That's so hard because as a mom, it's in our nature to take care of, let's just talk about it in terms of kids. I think it's in our nature to take care of others, to feel a lot of that weight. But as far as kids, mamas, and yes, this can go for dads, and yes, this can go for anyone without children as well. This will be relatable. But as moms, we give birth to these little human beings. We obviously feel like we need to take care of them with our entire being, right? There is not one single goddamn thing in this world that I would not do for my children. If they need something, anything, I will drop what I'm doing and I will tend to them. Maybe that's a bad thing, right? I know, obviously there are boundaries, okay? If I'm like, no, I have plans or I need to work out or whatever, my kids are old enough that I don't need to tend to their every need. I'm just saying that when your kids are toddlers, or even literally when they're teenagers, if I'm in the middle of a workout and my teenage 18-year-old daughter comes running up to me and just broke up with her boyfriend or whatever, is bawling, having a situation, I'm going to stop and take care of her. Obviously, right? As moms, as anyone, as dads, as anyone who feels this sense of responsibility towards someone, it's hard to make time for ourselves. And I can only speak as obviously a female mother. It's very hard for me. It was very hard for me at first to take time for myself, to put myself first. And it still is some days. As far as my workouts, not really. I kind of got that down pat. But there are other areas of my life where I'm like, my kids come first. And if I want to have time for myself to get my walk in, to whatever, I have got to set up some boundaries in place, right? But I want you to know that that's going to look different for everyone. And it's hard. It's so easy to say, this week, I'm going to put myself first, or I'm going to take time for myself. I don't know about putting ourselves first, mom. Let's be real. I know that would be like a miracle, but we can take time for ourselves. But it's easy to say, I'm going to take time for myself. I'm going to make time for myself this week. And your schedule will fall apart. There's no doubt in my mind that some shit will hit the fan and you will be like, well, I thought I was going to work out at this time today, but now I have to do this instead, right? It's hard. What I want to say is it's hard to change those habits of, yes, child, I'll run here for you, or yes, best friend, I'll be there for you. And you want to do all those things, but it's very hard to make time, take time, put yourself first. You have to keep going. With repetition, it becomes easier, but I want you to know that it's normal for that to be hard, okay? I don't want you to think that man, I'm really struggling finding time for myself as a mom. I'm so freaking busy. I don't know why Christy can do it so easily. God, why, God damn it, why is this so hard for me? It was so hard for me at first too. And it's hard for me now. I don't share that stuff on social media. I don't share most of my life on social media because you literally see 2 minutes of my day, really. So, it's not easy for me. It's not easy for anyone. It's freaking hard, and it's going to be hard work, and you're going to fall back into old habits, and you're going to be hard on yourself. Keep freaking going and just know that I see you, I hear you, I understand, and you have to keep trying, okay? My next client was dealing with negative thoughts about after eating something bad or having a weekend of having fun, and we're all going to be dealing with this soon. 4th of July is actually in a couple days from now as I'm recording this. So when you hear this, it'll be the weekend after. And y'all are going to be feeling I messed up. I had so many drinks. I stayed out and partied, right? Like it is what it is. But a lot of my clients, and this particular client that I was talking to, she's like, why do I do that? Like, why do I beat myself up about having some pizza or having a cupcake or having a stomachache because of why do I do that? This particular client had like 3 days of activities. She maneuvered through very, very well. Mind you, I think she gained 1 pound. Not that that is a big deal, but it is kind of, because usually if you have 3 days of like parties and foods and things you're off track for 3 days. Again, I helped her maneuver through that, and she did freaking so well. I was so proud of her. Just like, I gained 1 pound and that's fine. She didn't care. But she's like, I was still beating myself up for it. It's because old habits die hard. Somewhere along the line, we were taught pizza's bad. Pizza's carbs. Carbs are bad. You'll gain weight. We can't do that. That's a bad, quote unquote, bad food. And when you eat it, you feel, quote unquote, bad. I don't know where that came from. You have got to rewrite that. So what I want to say about that is, again, old habits die hard. That's a mindset. That's a habit that you had of eating like shit, beating yourself up, starting over on Monday, eating like shit, beating yourself up, starting over on Monday. That was your habit for years and years and years. You've got to reprogram it and say, I can have pizza. It's fine. I had 3 days of parties with my kids. I went out. I had fun. I enjoyed life. I stuck with my workouts. I stuck with my water. I stuck with my steps. I only gained 1 pound, probably water weight. Who cares? And I'm fine. I'm fine. I can do that. You have to rewrite it, right? Every time you do this and you succeed, you have to rewrite it. Pizza's not a bad food. It's not a salad, but it's not a bad food. It's fine. You have to keep saying these things. Again, repetition, making it a new habit, a new mindset. It's hard and it's not normal because all your friends around you are going to be like, how are you eating that? What are you doing? I thought you were on a diet. Doesn't matter. Hear me in your head, right? It's okay. It's okay. You have to rewrite that, but it's going to take time. I had another client dealing with boundaries with friends, events, and food limits. So she set some food limits for herself. She's not going to have certain things to eat. She's only going to have so many drinks, not going to go out quite as much, going to spend some time on herself. She's really feeling like she wants to draw inward and just change some things about her life. And that's hard because she is used to going out. Her friends are used to her going out. She's used to eating certain things. She's used to this time of year being a certain way for her. And she intentionally wanted to work with me to change that. And it's a little hard. And she's kind of in this place of like, what am I doing exactly? I know that I want to do this. I don't exactly know why. And side note, that's fine. If you want to do something and you're not exactly clear on, I don't know why I feel this way, or I don't know what I'm feeling, it doesn't freaking matter. Just go with it, right? But that's going to take time as well. It's going to take time for your friends to understand your new boundaries. It's going to take time for you to understand and practice how to articulate your new boundaries. It's going to take time for you to get used to not going out as much, not drinking as much, being a little bit maybe by yourself, spending more time alone with your thoughts. That is going to take time. Those are habits. If you change your lifestyle, if you change your eating habits, if you change your movements, your workouts, your sleep, your anything, it's going to be hard. It's going to take time. You're not going to be great at it the first time, but you have got to keep going. So in my mind, all of these clients they're different things for different people. So there might be something you're going through. You're like, yeah, I can kind of relate to one of those. Or there's something else in my life that's hard and I'm kind of struggling with, and I don't know why that I'm struggling with it because it comes pretty easily to other people. It doesn't matter. What it comes down to is old habits that you've had for your life that you've learned along the way, or that you were taught, or that you picked up on. It doesn't matter where it came from. Don't judge it. It is what it is. And when you've had that habit for years and years and years, I mean, some of my clients are 40 years old and they've been doing these things, like as far as like us being young women and learning, to judge our bodies and to judge our food and all that. That starts in like middle school. That's years of these habits and these habitual thoughts. It's not going to turn around in a month. Okay. So give yourself some time and some grace because old habits die hard. This is hard. It's hard to make a change when you're used to doing something for years, but it can be done. You want to do it, and you just need to be supported by the right people. I also had a client this week who messaged me, and she had had an off week. She was off track, changes at work, really big changes at work, big schedule change, a lot going on. We worked on what her food's going to look like, what her schedule is going to look like, and really made it work for her. But she had an off week, and then she had to go out of town for an event. When she got back, she found herself thinking, I'm so far off track. I've really fucked up. I had a lot of drinks. I, had a good time, which she should have. It was an event where you would have a good time. That's the point of kind of living sometimes. She had some food, too much food. She had some drinks. She kind of felt like shit. And she was like, man, I am really off base here. She messaged me and said, instead of being feeling guilty, instead of feeling shameful, instead of not reporting to my coach, instead of just kind of sulking in this, I'm going to be very vulnerable, tell you how I'm feeling, tell you how I'm going to move out of it. And she did. She did. And that is exactly what all of these other clients that I'm talking about, these other 3, but many more of my clients will have to do. They will have to make a change. So instead of being, oh, poor me, I'm so, so huge, and oh my God, I can't do this, and I'm so bloated, and all these things, right? Everything, all my progress is gone, all the things that we do and say. She didn't do that. She came to me and changed the narrative and walked through how she's going to change it. She took a little bit of time to meal plan. She went to the store and got things. She meal prepped, and she stuck to her guns that week and said she felt amazing. So with my help the few months prior to teaching her how to pivot, teaching her how to maneuver through these times, teaching her that you can live on track, when life is laid out well and you don't have anything going on. And then when you do have events or something throws you off, work is crazy, whatever, and you fall quote unquote off track, all you have to do is use these tools that I gave her to get back on track. So moral of the story is it's so possible that it can be done. And I was so happy for my client, like so happy. And we walked through it even more so. I told her what I was so proud of. I told her what those wins were. She noticed some wins on her own, but I also pointed out other wins that were just huge as far as making this a lifestyle. And she's super, super proud of herself. And I was just like elated for her. I was so happy when a client does that. It's like, yes, you get it. This is amazing. And all of my other clients that I mentioned, they will do that too, right? The mom feeling guilty, she'll change the narrative and say, it's okay for me to take time for myself. It's okay. I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to tell everyone else no, and I'm going to see how that feels, right? When you're feeling like you ate some pizza and you feel really bad for yourself and you feel kind of bloated and shitty, you can say, it's okay. It was a birthday party. I'm supposed to have a good time. It's fine. Nothing's wrong. Move on, right? Track it and move on. The other client dealing with boundaries, like it'll get easier, and we'll walk through that together. My clients and I walk through this stuff together. It'll get easier, and it will become a new habit to do these things, to talk better to yourself, to pick yourself back up. You'll catch yourself in the moment a lot quicker and be able to maneuver that. But I did want to bring so much awareness just in this episode that, yes, this shit is simple. It's not optional. This shit is not optional. This shit is simple. We make it overcomplicated, but it's not easy. And what's more so not easy is the stuff we have to deal with in our lives, right? It's not hard to do those 4 things that you should focus on. What's hard is finding the time to do it, finding the energy to do it, finding the food to eat to hit the macros, telling your family, hey, I know that I used to hang out with you every single day at whatever time, but I'm actually going to take 2-3 of those days a week and spend it on myself now. So I'm going to need your help doing X, Y, and Z so I can take some time for myself. Or with my friends, hey, I know that you're used to me going out every single Tuesday after work for Taco Tuesday. I'm still going to come, but I'm not going to drink because it's not my goals anymore. Or I'm just going to meet you every other week now. That's the hard part, is saying that and then dealing with kind of like the repercussions of like, excuse me, but you've always done this for me, or you've always been the girl's girl, how dare you kind of back out on us? That's the hard part, is the feelings that we carry dealing with that stuff and the feelings that we cause other people to now have because of our boundaries, so to speak, because we're making ourselves a priority. I also had a thought this week that kind of is in relation, but I saw somewhere something along the lines of, and I was out for a walk and thought about this, the state of your life, and I've talked about this in a not super recent podcast episode, the state of your life, the state of your body is your responsibility. What actions you've taken to this point have gotten you to where you are, and you can change those actions and you can change those habits to get you where you want to go. So if you look at your life and you look at the state of your house and you look at the state of your body, that's a result of you not taking responsibility and you not setting boundaries and you not taking that time for yourself. And it's okay to take that time back for yourself. And it's okay to actually take it back gradually. Just like I have my clients starting gradually with kind of one thing at a time, and then we pick up the pace, pick up momentum, pick up motivation. It's okay to do that with this stuff too, with your friends, with your family, with your kids, right? It's okay to go slowly and kind of feel out the waters if you're not someone who wants to just dive in. And either way is fine, but it's okay if you need to go a little bit slower. So I hope this was helpful. I just like a little coaching session. I felt like I was coaching, like I said, 3 of my clients yesterday. I just kept having this same thought when they were talking like, oh, this is just an old habit. It's not a huge deal. I know you're thinking that you're failing and you're thinking that this isn't going well, but all this is an old habit. It's an old mindset and we just have to break it with some consistency. Like that's it. So I just wanted to really, really come on here and reiterate that for you as well, because I think we, more so than me telling you specific movements sometimes to do things and, you know, some of the things that we really kind of obsess about, like how can I lose body fat here? That's great. And that's a really good topic. But this shit matters so much more because it doesn't matter what movement will burn body fat in your tricep, you know, your underarm area, which nothing will, by the way. That doesn't matter if you don't have time to go to the gym. It doesn't matter if you're not fueling yourself properly and drinking enough water and getting enough sleep. So a lot of the times those little details, I'm just like, that doesn't freaking matter. You're not going to go to the gym anyways. So I feel like this is way more up my alley as far as it being super, super important and bringing you a lot of value. So I appreciate you listening. As always, I appreciate you sharing and tagging me in your stories. I love seeing you out for a walk and in your car listening to the podcast. I appreciate it so much. And I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.